Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the second part of WordPress child theme creation tutorial. I just named this one Child Themes in WordPress for Beginners Part 2. So let me take you down through this post here and what we're going to learn today. This is a continuation of the WordPress child theme creation tutorial, and if you haven't done this one yet, you need to do this one first, okay? Because this goes through some details that you're going to need to know, and of course I have a video on this one as well. Okay, that being said, what we're going to learn here is we're going to learn what browsers to use to target CSS. We're going to identify IDs in order to make changes to IDs, and this little pound sign lets us know that it's an ID div, and you'll get to understand that here later in the video. And there's another one called classes, and that usually starts with a period. Okay, that lets us know that it's a class that we're trying to target, not an ID. And then we're going to learn some simple CSS commands and syntax, so that you'll be able to, start with the simple stuff, and then you'll be able to graduate on to more complex things. And here I'm going to also show you how to preview the changes before you make them permanent in the browser. And then finally, I'm going to show you how to make it permanent, CSS change permanently in your child theme. Okay, so I like to use the Google Chrome browser. It really helps me whenever I'm trying to target these different divs, and so that's pretty important. All browsers are not the same, okay? So that's the other thing that you have to keep in mind. Something that might work in Internet Explorer might not work in Firefox or Chrome. And here's just an example of the differences. For example, in Mozilla Firefox, this is not Mozilla Firefox. This is just the straight main command, okay? Now, if I wanted this exact same command in Firefox, I would start with -moz box shadow, okay? So, and then in Chrome and Safari, I would target it like this: webkit box shadow. So if you're trying to figure out, hey, why doesn't this work in Firefox but works in Chrome and Safari? Well, then you probably need to put this little Moz thing on in the front. Now, everything is eventually being graduated to this, and maybe by the time that you see this video or that you're working with CSS, this is going to work for you in all the browsers, okay? Not just Firefox. I need to edit this post and get that out there. This is just for all browsers. This is just the main command, okay? All right, so identify IDs within a web page. Okay, I have this little graphic here. And basically what you want to do is right-click on the area that you want to change, okay? So this particular one, we're trying to find an ID. Okay, we're going to find the difference between the IDs. So I'm going to go here to my local host, just like that, and a continuation, I have the child's. You'll call yours child. Okay, so I bring this up, and I open it up. And here we go. So you can see in the tutorial, I'm right-clicking on this bar up here. Okay, so I'm just going to go up to this bar. I'm going to right-click and then inspect element. You'll see I get this box pop up down here. Okay, so notice here's my div ID. It's called navbar. And notice whenever I highlight over the different sections, it'll show me the different divs within divs. So I have this div ID, but it's inside the ID of masthead, okay? So there's navbar, and then there's home link, and then there's masthead that contains both of these divs. Well, this is a class, all right? And the same thing too, if I right-click over Hello World, inspect element, you see here I have the div class of entry title, okay? Now, if I click over here, you'll see that my color is right here, all right? So let me stick with my thing. So this is how you identify an ID. This is how you identify a class, which is basically the exact same thing. You right-click and then you left-click to inspect element, or bring up this box here, and it'll reveal these classes. Now, one thing I want to show you here. You notice how whenever I go over Hello World, this isn't a link. Okay, so there's entry title here. Okay, now you notice there's no color here, but if I put color red, just like that, you'll notice that it doesn't change. It doesn't change the color of Hello World. Why is that? It's because this entry title has this little A that lets you know that it's targeting an anchor link. So if I go right in here and I just type red, inside that you'll notice now we get the change. Okay, that's because there's another element added onto that in the HTML, which makes that an anchor link. So you're going to have to remember that sometimes just because you're getting the class right, entry title, you might need an A on the end of that. Okay, and so if we go to the next one down within the anchor text itself, we can actually change that color to whatever we want. All right. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. Now, one of the things that I want to show you right here is that this is a perfectly formatted CSS syntax. Okay, so there's no use in you don't have to type everything out. If you know that you're targeting this or this up here, all you have to do is highlight and copy all this stuff just like that. Okay, and then you'll paste that into your theme. But let's say that maybe you wanted it blue. Okay, so, oh yeah, I like blue better. Pink, no, purple. See, with CSS, you can use these different commands. You can also use these pound commands, like pound 000 is black. Okay, but let's just make it blue. Okay, and then you just highlight this entire thing, just like this here, copy, and then you want to bring up your Notepad++, and let me go to my child's theme, just like I showed you in the last lesson. Okay, child. Here's my style sheet. I'm just going to go down here because before I do that, let me refresh this page so I show you what happens. It just reverts back to the black again, okay, or this color here. All right, kind of like an off black. But in order to make the change permanent to blue, you just highlight this whole thing here, just like I said. Make sure you get it all from the period, all the curly brackets. These curly brackets are what hold the commands. And you can add more commands in here. Maybe you want, font weight of bold. Okay? Notice how that makes it bolder and stuff like that. But you highlight that, bring up your style sheet within your theme that you're working on, go down to the bottom, paste it in there just like that, and then save it. Okay? Now you'll notice that whenever we refresh the theme, look, it stays blue. Okay, so that's how you can make permanent color changes, to your child theme. Now you notice this down here, entry title A, and that's out. That's because your child theme takes precedence over the parent theme. Okay, so those are some little tips for you on how you could start, editing your CSS. And if you're in this, right down here, you have a whole slew of CSS commands. There's W3 schools. There's all the things that you can do, like with text and text decoration. If you click on that, there's all different things, letter spacing, hyphens, line height, overflow. And you can experiment with all of these things to get the look and feel that you want within your website. Okay, just by right-clicking, inspect element, and then just add those commands in right below here. And usually it's a command, like, let's do the font weight, font hyphen weight, okay, and now we'll just say bold, okay, and so you notice that makes it bold, and you can put as many on there as you want, like a text shadow, okay. Now here's one, we go 2 pixels, 3 pixels, 4 pixels, and then maybe we want it black, pound 000. Okay, so you can see how it kind of gives it that thing. So you could just keep adding them on and adding them on down here until you get the look and feel that you want. Okay, now we're going to be going into detail in the future videos, so I could show you how to manipulate different things on sidebars and putting in dummy text. But I just wanted you to get familiar with using CSS and using this, where you can make all your commands in here, make sure they're right, copy them, paste them into your child theme, and then that way you can work a lot easier and a lot more efficient without having to guess, hey, before you enter a command in here, is this going to work, is it not going to work? So this is great practice for you in creating a child theme and getting it right before you go on and just start putting stuff within your CSS just to see if it works. Now the other thing too, I mentioned in the tutorial that I have other browsers like Firefox, and I mentioned earlier that things the majority of things will just work in every browser. But all you have to do, let me get my Firefox browser in here, and just type that localhost, just copy and paste that, and you'll see that, here we go, here it is in Firefox. And it's basically the same thing in Firefox, where you'll inspect the element. It's a little bit different setup, but, as you highlight, Firefox gives you these little bars, to let you know what's being targeted or not. So it'll all be a matter of choice of you. I like to use Chrome. But I hope this tutorial helps somebody out on how to make simple CSS changes within a child theme. This is Max with A1 Website Pro. Thanks.